my story really has been a story that really resonates with today's theme of choosing to challenge. I grew up in a very patriarchal society and community where I was often told that my dreams were too big because I was a girl. My dreams were not valid. I should stay within my limits. I shouldn't have all these ambitions and goals. And even then, even growing up and hearing all these messages around me, I was always feeling like there's something more to life. Like, this can't possibly be true. I can't, just because I'm a girl doesn't mean that I can't dream of changing the world and making a difference and being in leadership roles or getting an education. And then when I was 16 years old, my mom came into my room one day and informed me that in a few months I would be getting married to a man who lived in this faraway country called Canada. And a few months after that, just after my 17th birthday, I was sitting in a big grand banquet hall decked up in red and gold beside this man who was 11 years older than me, who was an absolute stranger, and I was now his wife. And a few months after that, I arrived in this country, this strange, big, beautiful, and very cold country called Canada, as his wife. I became a teenage mom, and I faced many, many years of oppression, abuse, and injustice. And I didn't even know what to call it then. I didn't even recognize, because I had never learned to recognize. I had been in that cycle of violence my whole life. My father was an abuser. I had seen him treat my mom that way. So I thought that is just normal. I didn't even know that what was happening to me was wrong. Many years and many days, I felt like I was living in a dark space with enough air that I could just breathe and survive, but not enough to be able to breathe freely and thrive. It was like living in a state of constant suffocation, living in constant anxiety, waking up every day and just wishing it would be a dull, uneventful day, because that would be a good day, because that would be a safe day. And it took me many, many years to fight my way out of it. I completed my high school courses through distance learning because I was not allowed to go to a proper high school. I then started working as a babysitter at home to save money secretly, because I was not allowed to go out and get a job, because the women who go out were shameless women. So I started a home-based babysitting service, and even though all my money was always taken away from me, I would still stash $50, $100, $200, whatever I could muster on the side every single month secretly to build my little $2,500 nest egg that I needed to be able to pay for my first year university fee as a part-time student. And finally, after 10 years of marriage and having 2 children, and going through all of that oppression, I was able to start university at the age of 26. And when I started university, things changed for me. I was being treated with kindness and respect for the first time in my life, and for the very things that I was always being ridiculed for at home: my intelligence, my ambitions, my goals, and my individuality. And that is what enabled me to eventually be able to ask for help, to go to the counseling center at university. I came across a sign that had a bunch of questions on it. Do you feel intimidated? Do you feel like you can't speak up, like you can't go on, like you're always living in fear? And that sign called me out to go and seek help. And then when I was in my first counseling session, the floodgates opened. Can you please tell me what's wrong with me? Can you tell me what I need to do in order to be a good wife? Can you tell me where I'm going wrong? What is that secret to being a good wife that keeps eluding me? Maybe if I cook better food, wash better clothes, keep the baby quiet at night, not talk too much, not have opinions, not express opinions. What do I need to do to be good enough? And that's when someone said to me for the very first time, Samra, it's not your fault. You do not deserve to be abused. You do not deserve to be treated this way. It took me another 2 years to get education, to get knowledge of my rights as a woman, as a Canadian, and as a human being, to know that there is support out there that I can ask for, there is help out there that I can avail. And also learn, most importantly, that the generational cycle to abuse perpetuates itself. And I grew up watching abuse in my family. I normalized it in my family, in my marriage. I did not want my daughters to grow up watching that, normalizing that, and then and tolerating it in their own lives for any reason, least of all for their gender. That's what was my motivating drive to be able to walk away from that marriage, because I knew that I wanted to provide my daughters with a better future and a better life. It wasn't easy. There were many days when I felt like I should go back because I faced cultural shame and stigma, even from my own family. There were many times when I was living in poverty, when I didn't even know where my next month's rent is going to come from or where I'll do groceries from next week. And I was working multiple minimum wage jobs on campus to make ends meet, even selling butter chicken and biryani to students living on campus to help pay for my groceries. Going to school full time, raising my children single-handedly. There were many, many dark moments. But in those dark moments, there were people who came with some kind words, with a tub of ice cream at my door to drown our sorrows in sugar, who shone a light into my darkness. And those are the people who helped elevate me and helped me believe that I was not alone in my journey and in my pain and in my struggle. Eventually, when I graduated from the university as a top student and I got a lot of success, more than I could ever have imagined, I wanted to pay it forward because I knew that my story was not just mine. My story was the story of millions and millions of women and girls around the world who continue to suffer and struggle in silence because of the shame and stigma and the taboo that surrounds these topics. But there is no honor in silence. Silence only helps the oppressor, never the oppressed. There are so many voices out there that are silenced every single day. 1 in 3 women in Canada struggle with some kind of intimate partner violence at some point in their lives. 1 in 2 of us struggle with some kind of physical or sexual violence in our lives. That is not the world that we want to live in, and that is not the world we want our daughters to grow up in. So when a woman comes forward, let's support her. Let's amplify her voice. Let's make her feel like she's a champion for breaking the silence. And if we go through something like that, let's break that silence and let's put that shame where it belongs, which is only with the abusers, because there is no honor in silence. Our honor lies in our freedom and our ability to be ourselves freely and unapologetically. And last but not least, we all need to do our part to speak up and to help amplify those voices, because there are still millions of silences that are still waiting to be broken. Thank you.